In the heart of West Africa, where dry fields stretch under golden sunrises and villages wake in quiet prayer, a young man once kissed his wife goodbye and promised he would return. His name was Ibrahim Traoré. To the world, he would become a soldier, a revolutionary, the youngest head of state alive, a man who rose from the shadows to lead a nation in turmoil. But to a few, he's still the barefoot boy who once ran through the streets of Kara, the son who never forgot where he came from, the husband who wore his wedding ring through war, the father whose children only knew him through bedtime stories whispered over crackling phone calls. Behind the sharp salutes and national speeches stands someone real, a man who prays before every mission, who misses birthdays, who once wrote letters he never sent. This is not just the story of a president. It's the story of a man who carried his home in his heart even as he tried to save a country. It is about the woman who kept the house standing when the world tried to tear it apart. About the children who learned patience before they could even spell their names. About the quiet kitchen where decisions of destiny were made over small meals. Love didn't end when duty called. It endured. It adapted. It waited. Through it all, he kept one promise burning close to his heart, to never lose the family he had built, even as he fought to protect the country he loved. This is the untold story of Captain Ibrahim Traoré's wife, his children, and the home the world rarely sees. A story not told in press conferences or official reports, but whispered in the corners of Bobo Dioulasso and remembered with pride in the village of Kara. A story of love, sacrifice, and the sacred power of family. Her name was Yasmina. Long before the world spoke the name Captain Ibrahim Traoré, before the uniforms, before the headlines, there was Yasmina. Steady, silent, unforgettable. She was born in 1991 in Bobo Dioulasso, a city of mango trees, music and memory, Burkina Faso's second-largest city, but to her, simply home. The daughter of two respected figures, her father Amadou, a retired history teacher who quoted Thomas Sankara at the dinner table, and her mother Fatiara, a midwife who delivered hundreds of babies, known affectionately across the city as Tantie Fati. From them, Yasmina learned patience and purpose. She was the second of 4 children, each carving a different path. But Yasmina chose to stay close to her roots. She wasn't loud, she didn't need to be. Her silence commanded attention. Her hijab, folded perfectly each morning, spoke of pride and ritual. Her books were her world. Her dreams tucked safely between poetry and pages of hope. She quoted Mariam Abba, read Nawal el-Sadawi in secret, and once won first prize for a poem about strength hiding in silence. She wasn't the kind of girl who chased the spotlight, but somehow the light always found her. Before she became a soldier's wife, before she became the partner to a future leader, she was simply Yasmina. And everything that came later was rooted in the quiet force she carried within. Their meeting was not a story for movies, no sparks, no grand confessions. Just 2 students in a campus library, studying side by side. He, absorbed in geology textbooks. She, tracing the lines of modern literature with quiet devotion. A casual offer to help with French translations. A polite decline. No chemistry, no flirtation, just a growing awareness. Over time, their paths kept crossing, at the mosque, in the cafeteria, in the hallways between classes. No words needed. When their eyes met, it simply felt right. By late 2011, Ibrahim asked, with the simple courage of a man who knew what he wanted, "I'd like to meet your parents." Yasmina agreed, but on one condition: after graduation. Their bond grew, not in grand gestures, but in small, steady steps. After classes, after prayers, after dreams whispered under trees heavy with mangoes. When Ibrahim began his military training in 2012 and Yasmina started teaching literature at a secondary school, distance became their new reality. Letters crossed between them. Handwritten, slow, deliberate. No pictures, no late-night calls, just words carrying promises. 3 weeks, a letter from him, a month, a reply from her. Time moved differently when hope was carried by paper and ink. In June 2014, he returned home on leave. With his parents' blessing, he formally asked for Yasmina's hand. It wasn't a lavish affair, no fanfare, no cameras, just family, just faith. On a quiet afternoon in October 2014, in a modest courtyard in Bobo Dioulasso, Ibrahim Traoré married Yasmina Ouattara. She wore deep emerald green. He wore white. They promised each other forever, not with spectacle, but with silent, unshakable certainty. The early years of their marriage were filled with separation. Ibrahim's military duties pulled him across the country. Fada, Kaya, Jibo, Yasmina followed where she could, and when she couldn't, she waited. The distance was hard, but it made their reunion sacred. In May 2016, their first son, Issa, was born, a boy with his mother's calm and his father's piercing stare. In August 2018, a daughter, Lima, curious, relentless, always asking questions. In March 2021, another boy, Youssef, full of energy, light spilling from him like a sunrise. Today they live quietly, far from the public eye, in a secured residence on the outskirts of Ouagadougou. Yasmina homeschools the children, protecting them, teaching them not just math and reading, but patience, faith, and the strength of family. Sometimes she brings them back to Bobo Dioulasso, to the backyard where she once played, letting the circle of life gently spin on. Since the 2022 coup, Yasmina has disappeared from public view, by choice. No interviews, no social media, no official portraits. Friends say she spends her days in prayer, cooking while the Quran hums from an old radio, and writing quietly in her journal each night, the private witness to history unfolding around her. When asked about her role, she only says, "I was not the one chosen. He was." Her humility is her crown. At night, when Ibrahim returns, quietly, after dark, it's the children's laughter that greets him. Wooden toys tucked under his arms, couscous and prayers shared under soft lights. It is in these small protected moments, not in palaces or parades, that the true heart of Ibrahim Traoré beats, not as a soldier, not as a president, but as a man who made one promise long ago and never let go.